Have you ever secretly thought that enlightenment is something that only happens to ancient sages in distant legends? Or at best 2 monks in remote mountains? But definitely not to you. An ordinary person stuck in traffic, bills, and relationship drama. Have you ever wondered if all this talk about becoming a Buddha is just a beautiful promise for after death? While in this life you are doomed to repeat the same patterns of fear, anger, and regret again and again. My friend, welcome back to the channel. I am really glad you are here. Because today we are going to talk about something that almost no one explains clearly, yet it quietly decides how you live, how you suffer, and how you use this rare human life. We are going to talk about Buddha nature, often called the storehouse of the Tathagata, the hidden treasure of awakening inside every sentient being. The original article that inspires this talk asks a very sharp question. Do you really have to wait until you die to become a Buddha? Is liberation a faraway diploma that you only receive in another world after all of this is over? Or is it possible that the seed of Buddhahood is already here, right now, inside your very confusion? And that if you truly understand this, you can start changing your destiny while you are still breathing, walking, loving, and struggling. In this long, story-based reflection, I want to walk with you through 3 major threads. First, what Buddha nature actually means and what it does not mean. Many people hear the phrase everyone can become a Buddha and either dismiss it as a myth or misunderstand it as an excuse to do whatever they want. We will cut through both extremes. Second, how this hidden nature is related to your current mind, your habits, desires, fears, and dreams. We will look at the inner storehouse of consciousness where all your seeds of karma are kept, and why the teachings insist that beneath all of this, your deepest nature is already pure. Third, what it looks like in daily life to live as someone who trusts Buddha nature here and now, instead of postponing everything to later. This is where destiny quietly begins to bend. So, let us not keep this in the clouds. Let us treat it like a conversation between your tired, confused self and a very patient friend who believes something luminous about you even when you do not. For most people, spiritual life is divided into 3 boxes. Box 1, this life, where you work, love, get hurt, get old, and eventually die. Box 2, the afterlife, where, hopefully, some better situation awaits, if you have collected enough points of goodness. Box 3, enlightenment, placed in some unreachable museum of divine beings, far above both. With this model, most people do the following. In everyday life, they act from habit, chasing pleasure, avoiding pain, defending their ego. When problems come, they pray for comfort. When death is mentioned, they get scared and quickly think, I hope I will go somewhere good. As for enlightenment, they sigh and say, that is for saints, not for me. The idea of Buddha nature explodes this model. Buddha nature says that beneath all layers of confusion, there is something in you that is already awake, already luminous, already free. Not your personality, not your opinions, not your trauma, not your self-image, but your deepest mind. Imagine a clear, still lake. On the surface, waves rise when the wind blows. Mud gets stirred up when someone throws a rock. Leaves, trash, and foam float by. If you only look at the surface, you think the lake is chaos. But if you dive deep enough, you find that the water at the bottom is still. It has always been still, even while storms raged above. Buddha nature is like that still depth. Your ordinary mind is like the stormy surface. Your thoughts, emotion, and reactions are the waves and trash. Most of us live and die on the surface, completely convinced that we are our waves. We say, I am my anger, I am my desire, I am my fear, I am my trauma. We never realize that there is a depth to which we can descend, a place in our own mind that is calm, clear, and connected to all things. Now, here is the key. When the teachings say all beings have Buddha nature, They are not saying you are already behaving like a Buddha. They are saying you already have the potential and the seed. The treasure is buried in your own house, but you are living in the attic, convinced you are poor. And when they say you can become a Buddha, they do not mean you have to wait until after death. They mean that in this very life, if you learn how to turn around and look into the root of your own consciousness, you can begin to uncover this treasure. Before we go deeper, let us clear away to common misunderstandings that create a lot of confusion. The first misunderstanding is pessimistic. It says, I am too full of flaws. My anger, my jealousy, my addiction, my mistakes, my history, all prove that I am not spiritual material. Maybe other people have Buddha nature, but I definitely do not. At best, I can be a decent person and hope for some comfort after death. The second misunderstanding is arrogant. It says, since I already have Buddha nature, I am already perfect. There is nothing I really need to do. Whatever I feel like doing is an expression of my true self. If I hurt others, they should accept it as part of my authenticity. Both are traps. The first trap denies the treasure because the attic is messy. The second trap uses the treasure as an excuse to never clean. The honest path is different. It says, yes, the attic is a mess. There are cobwebs everywhere, strange noises in the corners, old wounds, broken furniture, dust. But beneath this house there is a vault of clear gold. My task, in this life, is not to despair at the mess or to pretend it is not there, but to gradually clear a path to the vault and then learn how to live from that wealth. In Buddhist psychology, they speak of the storehouse consciousness, the deepest layer of mind where all your karmic seeds are stored. Everything you have ever thought, said, or done plants a seed in this storehouse. Seeds of anger, greed, and delusion plant future suffering. Seeds of generosity, kindness, honesty, and meditation plant future clarity and joy. This storehouse is like a vast field beneath the surface of your daily awareness. Some seeds are sprouting now as your current personality and circumstances. Many others are sleeping, waiting for condition. Buddha nature is not another seed. It is the fundamental, pure capacity of the field itself to awaken. It is like the fertility of the soil, its ability to support life and growth. If you only see sprouts and weeds, you may think, I am doomed to be like this. But if you understand the soil, you realize you can plant new seeds. And here is where destiny comes in. Most people think of destiny as something fixed, written by some external force, or decided by birth chart or fortune teller. If they are suffering, they think, my destiny is bad. If they are prospering, they think, my destiny is good. From the perspective of karma and Buddha nature, destiny is more like a stream. The water comes from many sources: past action, family patterns, social conditions, previous lives. The stream has a general direction because of these factors, but it can be diverted, widened, deepened, or even merged into a different river if you change how you relate to it. If you believe you are only the stream, you feel helpless. If you discover that you are also the mountain that guides the stream, you begin to work with it. How does understanding Buddha nature help you work with it? Let us use a simple but powerful example. Imagine a woman named Sarah. She grew up in a family of constant criticism. No matter what she did, it was not enough. Her parents carried their own wounds and dumped them on her. By the time she became an adult, she carried a heavy inner voice that said, "You are worthless. You will never amount to anything." This voice was not spoken out loud anymore, but it lived in her storehouse consciousness as seeds of shame and self-hatred. In relationships, she chose partners who repeated the same pattern: controlling, dismissive, emotionally unavailable. She sabotaged herself, taking low-paying jobs, avoiding promotion, running away from chances to shine. Her destiny, from the outside, looked sad and predictable. One day, after a particularly painful breakup, she stumbled into a meditation class. The teacher spoke about Buddha nature, about the idea that beneath all your history, your deepest mind is pure, spacious, and worthy. At first she felt resistance, almost anger. How could that be true? Everything in her life seemed to say the opposite. But something in her, tired of suffering, was willing to try. The teacher gave her a very simple practice. Sit each day, even for 10 minutes. Watch your breath. When thoughts arise saying you are worthless, do not argue and do not agree. Label them gently as old voices, old seeds, and let them pass like clouds. Then, each day, when you finish, place a hand on your heart and say quietly, even if I do not feel it yet, I am more than these voices. My deepest nature is not broken. This is not positive thinking in the shallow sense. It is aligning your everyday mind with the view of Buddha nature. For months, nothing dramatic happened. The same negative thoughts arose. The same habits played out. But something very subtle began to change. A tiny gap grew between the voice and her identity. Instead of immediately believing, I am worthless, she sometimes caught herself and said, that is the old seed talking again. In that gap, a different choice occasionally appeared. Once, when a partner raised his voice and blamed her for something she did not do, her old habit would have been to cry, apologize, and try harder to please. This time, under the hurt, a small clear voice said, this is not the only way to be treated. That small voice came from the deeper layer, from the recognition that she had some inherent worth beyond this drama. Eventually, she left that relationship. It was not easy. She doubted herself. She returned to old patterns many times, but each time she sat on the cushion, she remembered the teaching about Buddha nature. She felt that beneath her turbulence, there was a stillness that had never been touched by any insult or breakup. Years later, looking back, she could see that her destiny had bent. The same old karmic seeds of shame and fear still tried to sprout, but she was not watering them as much. She was planting new seeds of courage, self-respect, and compassion. If she had believed that her identity was nothing more than her damaged story, she would have moved through life like a satellite locked into the same orbit. The recognition of Buddha nature did not magically erase her pain, but it introduced a new center of gravity. This is what it means to begin changing destiny while alive. It is not about winning the lottery. It is about gradually shifting the axis around which your life spins. There is another dimension to this, one that reaches beyond psychology into deep spiritual practice. In the teachings about the storehouse of the Tathagata, there is an image of turning the light around. Usually, our awareness is always shining outward, onto objects, this person, that problem, that memory, that plan. We rarely turn the light inward to see the seeing itself. Turning the light around means directing awareness back toward its own source. Imagine a flashlight shining on the wall. You see colors and shapes, but you rarely look at the bulb. Now imagine slowly turning the flashlight so that it shines on the bulb itself. In meditation, when you turn attention back toward the one who is aware, even for a brief moment, something very special can be tasted. There is a sense of open presence, without fixed shape, quietly holding all experience. That presence is closer to Buddha nature than any thought or emotion. Of course, for most of us, this recognition is unstable. We glimpse it and then we lose it. Old habits drag us back into identifying with our thoughts and roles. But every time you taste that open presence, even briefly, something in your storehouse consciousness changes. A new seed is planted, the seed of remembering. Over years of practice, this remembering can grow stronger than your habitual forgetting. And this is when destiny really begins to transform. Because what drives karma is not only what you do, but who you believe you are when you do it. If you believe you are only a hungry ego that must fight, defend, and grasp, then your actions will inevitably generate more suffering. If, even a little, you live from the knowledge that your deepest nature is spacious and interconnected, You naturally act with more patience, kindness, and wisdom. Let us bring in another story, one that shows the after-death view and how it can be misunderstood. There was an elderly man named Leonard. In his youth, he was rough and selfish. He drank heavily, hurt people, and broke many promises. In middle age, he experienced a series of losses: a car accident, bankruptcy, the death of a sibling. He became scared of death and began attending religious services. He heard teachings that if he believed in a pure land or a paradise and recited the right names at the moment of death, he could be reborn there and leave behind the messy karma of this world. For him, this sounded like a convenient escape. So, he told himself, "I will live more or less as I like now. And then when I am old and close to dying, I will recite very hard and get a good rebirth." This is the spiritual version of cramming for an exam you ignored all semester. Years passed. He continued many old habits, with occasional bursts of fear-driven piety when something bad happened. He never really examined his action. He never apologized deeply. He never practiced deeply changing his mind. One night, he had a dream. He saw himself standing in front of a mirror. In the mirror, he was wearing expensive spiritual robes, shining with light. Behind him was a long line of people whose faces were twisted in pain, people he had hurt, abandoned. He heard a voice say, "The robe is your fantasy. The faces are your real karma. Where do you think you will go with this baggage?" He woke up shaking. From then on, he began to understand that true rebirth in a pure land is not a lottery ticket you buy at the end. It is the flowering of seeds you plant in your consciousness throughout your life. Recitation is powerful, but only when joined with sincerity, repentance, and a shift in behavior. He started visiting people he had wronged, asking forgiveness. He donated quietly to those in need. He practiced meditation. He spoke less, listened more. He recited the sacred names not only in fear of hell, but as a way of aligning his small mind with something vast and compassionate. By the time he died, he was a different man inside. His outer circumstances were not perfect, but his consciousness had changed. From the perspective of Buddha nature, this is the real preparation for death. You do not wait until your body collapses to meet your true mind. You spend your life getting to know it. Then, when the moment comes to let go of this body, you are not a stranger to yourself. When the teachings say you can become a Buddha after death, they do not mean that you magically transform in one night without any preparation. They mean that for some beings, the final full realization of their Buddha nature may happen after this physical life ends. But the groundwork is laid here and now. In other words, this life is not a waiting room. It is the training field. And this training is not confined to meditation cushions or temples. It happens in every conversation, every conflict, every temptation, every heartbreak. Each time you are about to lash out in anger, but remember, I do not want to water this seed. You are living from Buddha nature. Each time you are about to lie but feel the weight of dishonesty and choose the harder path of truth, you are living from Buddha nature. Each time you feel crushed by shame, and then remember, beneath this feeling, there is an awareness that is not stained. You are touching Buddha nature. Each time you feel a deep connection to all life while watching the sky or listening to someone's pain, you are tasting Buddha nature. These moments might seem small, but they are huge in the language of karma. They are corrections to the trajectory of your soul. Now, someone might say, "This all sounds noble, but my life is extremely messy. I have debts, illnesses, family drama, maybe even a criminal record. I have done things I am ashamed of." Are you really saying that I carry Buddha nature as much as a saint? That sounds too generous. Here, we need to bring in the image of the diamond in the mud. Picture an extremely valuable diamond buried in a pile of rotten garbage. Flies swarm. Smells are terrible. The pile looks disgusting. Most people, seeing the surface, walk away in disgust. They say, "This is worthless filth." A wise person, seeing the same pile, is not fooled. They know that if they patiently clear away the garbage, wash what they find, and polish it, the diamond will emerge. The diamond has always been a diamond, even when covered. Its value was not destroyed by the mud. Your life, with all its mistakes and pain, is the pile. Your Buddha nature is the diamond. If you identify only with the pile, you will either wallow in despair or try to cover the smell with perfume of denial. You will say, "I am trash," or you will pretend everything is fine while secretly rotting inside. If you recognize the diamond, you do not deny the pile. You roll up your sleeves and start cleaning. This is exactly why the path of practice requires both courage and tenderness. You must be brave enough to face your own shadows and gentle enough to forgive yourself while you change. When the idea of Buddha nature is understood only intellectually, it is useless. When it sinks into your bones, it becomes the secret warmth that keeps you going in your hardest nights. Let us return to destiny for a moment and look at it through this lens. Suppose you were born into poverty, violence, or illness. The initial conditions of your stream are harsh. You can call this bad destiny. If you never discover Buddha nature, you may live your whole life reacting from those conditions. You may repeat the same patterns of abuse, crime, or despair. The stream keeps flowing in the same channel. If, in the middle of that harshness, you discover that beneath your wounds you carry a pure capacity for wisdom and compassion, and if you begin to act from that knowledge, even in small ways, something extraordinary happens. Your outer life may still be hard, but your inner quality changes. You may be the first in your family to learn how to speak without using violence. You may be the first to seek therapy or spiritual guidance instead of numbing out. You may be the first to refuse to pass your pain onto your children. From the outside, this might not look spectacular. But in the language of karma, you are bending a river that has flowed in one direction for generations. Your children, whether physical or spiritual, inherit a different inner landscape because you honored your Buddha nature instead of obeying your conditioning. This is what it means to change destiny while alive. It is not always glamorous. It is often quiet, humble, and invisible to others, but it is deeply real. Now, how can you practically bring this understanding into your daily life? Starting today, you do not need to declare to the world that you are aiming to become a Buddha. You do not need to change your clothes or move to a monastery. You can begin where you are, in simple ways. You can start by noticing the voice in your head that constantly tells you who you are. Is it harsh, cruel, hopeless? When it speaks, ask, who is listening? That listener, that awareness, is closer to your Buddha nature than the voice itself. Each time you rest as the listener, even for a second, you are practicing turning the light around. You can also use difficulties as reminders. When you feel anger rise, instead of saying, "This proves I am terrible," you can say, "Here is a wave in my lake. My Buddha nature is the whole lake, not only this wave. I will breathe, feel it fully, and choose not to act from it blindly." When you feel deep sadness, you can say, "This sadness is real and valid, but it is not the totality of my being. The awareness that can hold it is larger." When you are tempted to numb out with distraction, you can ask, "What am I unwilling to feel right now? Can I trust that my Buddha nature is strong enough to sit with this pain for a few minutes instead of running away again?" If you are drawn to formal practice, you can set aside regular time for meditation, recitation, or contemplation. Treat this time not as a self-improvement project, but as a daily appointment with your deepest self. You can also bring Buddha nature into your view of others. When someone hurts you, instead of reducing them to their worst behavior, you can remember that they, too, are covered in layers of ignorance but carry a hidden treasure. This does not mean you let them continue harming you. It means you set boundaries while not losing sight of their potential. Parents can look at their children and see not only a project to shape or control, but a small being carrying ancient karmic seeds in Buddha nature. That changes the way you scold, praise, and guide. Teachers can see their students not only as grades, but as minds in which seeds are being planted. Doctors, nurses, therapists, and caregivers can see the people they help not only as bodies or cases, but as temporary expressions of something vast. Slowly, a different world appears. The same streets, the same offices, the same houses, but inhabited by beings whose value does not depend on their roles. This is the world as seen from Buddha nature. As we move toward the end of this long talk, I want to speak to you very personally. You may be listening to this with tears in your eyes, because some part of you has waited a long time to hear that you are more than your wounds. You may also be listening with skepticism, because it is hard to believe that beneath your confusion, there is anything pure. Both reactions are understandable. I am not asking you to blindly believe in Buddha nature as dogma. I am inviting you to treat it as a hypothesis worthy of experimentation. For 30 days, live as if it were true that beneath your surface, you carry a clear, luminous mind that is not stained by anything you have ever done or suffered. For 30 days, when shame arises, instead of letting it define you, remember the diamond in the mud. When anger arises, remember the lake with waves. When despair whispers that you will never change, remember the stream that can be guided. During these 30 days, practice one small act each day that you imagine a Buddha nature would do: a gesture of kindness, a moment of restraint, a minute of silent awareness, a sincere apology, a deep listening to someone in pain. At the end of those 30 days, see if something inside you has shifted, even a little. If it has, you will not need anyone to convince you. You will have tasted for yourself that you are not as stuck as you thought. If it has not, you have lost nothing by trying to live with more kindness and awareness. Either way, the experiment itself is a step on the path. I would love to hear, in the comments, how the idea of Buddha nature lands in your life. Have you ever felt, even briefly, a sense of clear presence beneath your thoughts and emotion? Have you ever acted from a place that felt wiser and kinder than your usual habits? As if something deeper were moving through you. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear tonight when they are convinced that they are only their mistakes. If you want to support this channel so that we can continue creating long, sincere, contemplative content like this, you can subscribe, click like, and share this video with friends who are searching for meaning in the middle of their ordinary life. If you feel called to walk more closely with us, you can consider joining as a member. Every bit of support helps keep this space alive as a quiet room in the crowded house of the internet. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. In a world that constantly tells you that you are not enough and tries to sell you things to fill that fabricated hole, your willingness to sit and listen to teachings about your inherent Buddha nature is already a radical act. May you remember, again and again, that you do not have to wait until after death to touch awakening. The doorway is here, in this breath, in this moment, in this very mind that you think is too messy. May you have the courage to walk through it.
There comes a time when you realize you want something that belongs just to you, something that brings comfort and keeps you connected to your inner world. Wall-crafted bracelet does exactly that. Quietly, softly, and consistently. If you felt drawn to any bracelet in this video, you'll find the purchase link in the video description and many more auctions in the channel's storefront. Because sometimes the smallest item can bring the biggest sense of peace.